This is Mrs. Lehman from Math with Mrs. Lehman, and tonight the kids have some homework. It's due on Friday. They need to do their Module 2 test corrections. So I know a lot of people were confused. This was not a great result for the test overall as a whole. So I would like to take some time to go through each of these questions in case you're one of the people who is struggling on some of these questions. So first one is, what is the greatest common factor of 24 and 42? You had two options here. You could either do a factor tree and then find the common prime factors and multiply those together, or you could have done a T-chart with the factors. So I can show you the factor tree real quick. So 24, you got to think of a fact that multiplies to 24. So maybe you want to do 3 times 8. You could have done 4 times 6. It doesn't matter. As soon as you get a prime number, you're going to circle it. So keep bringing them down. 8 breaks into 2 times 4. 4 can break up into 2 times 2. So the prime factorization of 24 would look like 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. All right, you have to do the same thing for 42. So 6 times 7 is 42. 6 can be broken down into 2 times 3, both of which are prime. 7 can't be broken down, so I'm going to erase that little line there. And I'm going to circle 7 and bring that down to this line. So 2 times 3 times 7 is 42. That's a prime factorization of 42. So now the next jump on this is to find the pairs. So you're going to look in this section I'm circling in red and see what matches this section that I'm circling. I'm putting a rectangle around. Gee, Miss Lehman, why aren't your kids doing well on their tests? Because you don't know the difference between a circle and a rectangle. Anyway, so I'm enclosing, I should say. So anyway, I'm looking here and I notice that this 2 has a match here. So I'm going to write that down. This 3 right here has a match right here. And that is all that these two numbers have in common, 24 and 42, for prime factors. So you multiply those two common prime factors, you're going to get 6, and that is the greatest common factor of those numbers. Okay? Okay, so another option, I'm going to erase this right now to show you another approach. The other approach to this question is making a T-chart of the factors of 24 and 42. So you're going to break these down into multiplication problems. So 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Okay, so that is a list of the factors of 24. For 42, we have 1 times 42. We have 2 times 21. We have 3 times 42. If you take 2, the way you can tell that 3 goes into 42 is you add 4 and 2, that's 6. 6 is divisible by 3, so therefore we know 42 is divisible by 3. You're going to go ahead and do that division, and you're going to find out that 3 times 14 is 42. 4 does not go into it. 5 does not go into it. 6 times 7 does. So that is the complete list of factors of 42. So you're going to look for the biggest one that they have in common, and the biggest one that they have in common is 6. All right, so the next question is, what is the quotient of 828 and 18? So you are dividing 828 by 18. So what you're going to do is figure out, does 8 go in, or I'm sorry, 18 go into 8? No. Does 18 go into 82? Yes. How many times? Well, you know it's pretty close to 20, right? So let's say 4 times 18. Let's see what that gets us. So that's 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So that's 72. I know I couldn't fit another 18 in there because I would be up to 90 then. So I'm going to say 4 times. So 18 times 4 is 72. You subtract, you get 10. Right? And then you've got to bring down your next number, 8. So 18. So now I'm going to think about this. First of all, getting that first step right is going to eliminate these two answers immediately. So now it's either 451 times or 46 times. So, you know, I'm going to say something right here, this number right here is pretty close to 20. This is pretty close to, well, it's pretty close to 100. So I would say it's about 5 or 6 times. Let's see. So let's see if we can go 5 times. That's 40. That's 90, right? Not high enough. Let's see if we can put in another 18 to see if it goes in 6 times. And that's where you would get 108. So we know it's 6 times. So 18 times 6 is 108. You would subtract and get 0. So your answer for question 2 was choice D, 46. Another option you had is you can always take your divisor and your quotient and multiply that to see if it gives you the dividend. So you can take this 18 times any of these choices right here to see if you get 828. If you take 18 times 46, you will get 828. So that's another way you can kind of work backwards to check. All right, the next question, the LCM, least common multiple of 6 and 9. So you're skip counting to see where 6 and 9 first meet each other on the number line. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. We could keep going here for a while, but oops, why did I write 45? 42, and then 9, you'd have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. We could keep going and going and going, but you should check for common multiples, I should say. And right here, we have 18. Okay, so the choice there, that's correct, is B, 18. All right, the next question is about the class selling pizzas. It says the 6th grade class raised $2,673 selling frozen pizzas. They sold a total of 486 pizzas. What is the unit price of the pizza? So again, unit price means what is the price of one. So this is kind of these are kind of big numbers, I should say. So now, common sense sometimes can, really help you out. Nobody's going to be buying a pizza for 55 bucks, I'm guessing. But you could go ahead, I would say B and C are our most reasonable answers, right? So we should maybe can use those as guidance. 486 does not go into 2. It does not go into 26. It does not go into 267. So that immediately eliminates, like there's a decimal point right here, right? So that immediately eliminates this. Now obviously it's going to go into 2,673 a number of times, so that would also eliminate that answer. So let's do 5. So 5 times 486. Let me just double check that real quick. All right, so that goes in 5 times. That's going to give you 2,430. Next step is to subtract. You're going to get 243. So you're going to put a 0 here. Bring it down. How many times does 486 go into 2,430? So we know from this problem right here, it goes in 5 times, right? So you're going to multiply that out. You're going to get 2,430. You're going to have 0 left over, right? We know this is money. We're done dividing, but we want to put the cents right there. So it would be $5.50, choice C. The next question, Amita has 3 3/4 gallons of milk and 9 of her friends want a glass of milk. Amita wants to give everyone the same amount of milk. How much milk can each of them have? So this is how much she has. This is how many people she's dividing it among. So anytime you have a question where it's asking you to share something equally, that's a division problem. So she's sharing the milk. She's not sharing her friends to the milk, right? So we've got to take the milk and divide it up amongst 9 people. All right, so we got to make sure this is in the right format. And I see a mixed number here and I see a whole number, we want to make sure we have just numerators and denominators. So we're going to have, multiply this and add that, so you have 12 plus 3 is 15 fourths here for an equivalent fraction to 3 3/4, and 9 is the same as saying 9 over 1. So now you've got to remember copy dot flip, so 15 fourths times 1/9, and then you need to go ahead and multiply that or simplify before you multiply. So these both share a common factor of 3, so 5 times 1 is 5, 4 times 3 is 12, so 5/12 gallons per person, okay? Choice D was an obvious an obviously eliminated one. There's no way if you only have 3 3/4 gallons that you can give everyone 33, almost 34 gallons each. If you only have close to 4 gallons, there's no way you can give everyone 3 gallons. Common sense would really essentially lead you down to, your top 2 choices there. So anyway, let's go to the next one. Mary, Vicky, and Ryan are combining their money to buy a big bag of trail mix. New York State loves their trail mix. Mary has $5, Vicky has $2.75, and Ryan has $4.30. What is the sum of all their money? Well, you needed to recognize that sum means to add. So you need to take $5, $2.75, and $4.30 and add those numbers together. Drop that decimal point. So you are going to get $12.05. So if you got $11.05, it's because you did not carry your 1. Okay? So the correct answer is choice D. All right, let's go to the next page. Jason will use a 1/3 gallon pitcher to empty 3/4 gallon. Let me say that again. Jason will use a 1/3 gallon pitcher to fill an empty 3/4 gallon water jug. So he's got this empty water jug that he's going to use a 1/3 gallon pitcher to fill. So we got to figure out how much water will he need in order to completely fill the water jug. So you're taking this empty gallon thing and you're filling it with the pitcher. So you're taking 3/4 and you're dividing that up amongst the pitchers. So you have to then copy dot flip. So the first main thing is the setup, and then from there it's the calculation. So that's 9/4, which equals 2 1/4, because 9 divided by 4 is 2. It's going to give you 8. You'll have 1 left over out of 4, so 2 1/4. So that's between 2 and 3 pitchers if you have 2 1/4. So you need more than 2 but less than 3. All right, the next one, it says there are 18 girls and 24 boys who want to participate in a co-ed soccer league. If each team must have the same number of girls and boys, what is the maximum number of teams that can enter? So this is a greatest common factor question because it's asking kids the students who are doing this test, to figure out how to split these people into equal teams. So 18 and 24 are pretty easy numbers. I probably would just do a T-chart for this myself. I would do that pretty quickly, I think. So go ahead and list all of the factors of 18 and 24. And you get that. Now you just have to look at both lists and find the greatest factor that they have in common, which is 6, choice C. All right, the next one is talking about pencils and having a match of erasers, having a matching number of erasers, I should say. So pencils come in packs of 10, erasers have 6 in a package. If we want each pencil to have an eraser with none left over, what is the fewest numbers of pencils and erasers that need to be purchased? So this is where we want the numbers to meet, right? We want to find LCM, so we're going to find the LCM of 6 and 10. So a lot of kids jumped right over the LCM and they went all the way up to 60. Well, you'll see that we will run into it well before that. So if you count by 10, you're going to get 10. 20, you're going to bump in, 10 is going to bump into 6 at 30 on the number line. So So your LCM is 30. It could have asked you how many packs of pencils you would need, how many packs of erasers. Well, the pencils were 10, so you need 3 packs of pencils. You would need 5 packs of erasers to make that work. All right. The next one, 2 whole numbers have a least common multiple of 60. So this question gives you 3 criteria that you have to match. This was one of the most commonly missed questions, and I think it's because kids didn't read this one that carefully. So you need to find 2 whole numbers that have an LCM of 60. Each number is less than or equal to 12, and the GCF of the 2 numbers is 2. Well, just looking at this list, when we look at this bullet right here, each number is less than or equal to 12. Choice D is an obvious wrong answer because 15 is not less than 12. So the other thing is, we know that they have to have a greatest common factor of 2, so you're looking for even numbers, right? 2 is the only even prime number, so we know that anything even is going to have a factor of 2. 5 doesn't even have a factor of 2, so that's how we can eliminate B. Choice A, I would just start testing these. Do these have an LCM of 60? So 6 and 10, we just did that example, right? You're going to end up landing on the same number at 30, not at 60. So there's that. So that does not have an LCM of 60, so by process of elimination, you could figure out that it is choice C, 10 and 12. They will land on each other, land on the same number at 60, and their GCF is both 2, okay? Because if you list the factors of 10, you have 1 times 10, 2 times 5, pretty easy. In 12, you're going to have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Their GCF is 2. Alrighty. Let's go to the next question. Evaluate. This was just a simple division of fractions, so you got to make sure, first step, that you have them in the right format. So this 3 needs a denominator, so we're going to put it over 1. Now we're going to copy the first number, we're going to change that to multiplication, and then flip the second number. And then you multiply fractions by multiplying straight across, so you're going to get 5 over 24, which is choice D. All right, the next one is asking you to find the product. So the key thing here is that you know what product means. That means the answer to a multiplication problem, and you need to know what to do with these decimals. A lot of kids just want to drop the decimals straight down, and what you need to do is multiply these out and then count the number of decimal places over for multiplying. So 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 2 is 2, put a 0 here, 5 times 3 is 15, carry your 1, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So you probably got this part right, and the decimal spot got you. So we have 2 places. You got to take the decimal point from here, move it into, so your answer was 11 and 73/100. All right, we're going to move on to the next page. 13, which of the following is a prime number? So this was kind of a trap I set for you, and many of you fell for it. 6 is even. That's going to have a factor of 2. 40 is even. It has lots of factors. So it's down to 37 and 51. What people missed is that 51 is divisible by 3. So 51 divided by 3 is 17. We did a worksheet that had that on the homework a while ago, so that was kind of me following up on that. But anyway, a way to tell if a number is divisible by 3 is you take the numbers that are in it, so 5 and 1, right? You add those together, you're going to get 6, and if that answer is divisible by 3, then the whole thing is divisible by 3. So that's how you do that. True or false, 2 is the only even prime number. Every other even number is composite. That is a true statement because 2 is the only one. 4 has 1 times 4 and 2 times 2, right? So You're going to always have 2 as a factor of everything other than everything including 2. That kind of got confusing quick. You get what I'm saying. So this was not a commonly missed one. So 2 is the only even prime number. Make a factor tree for number 15 to determine the prime factorization of 45. So you had a few different options, I guess, on how to do this. You could have done 3 times 15. I can show a few different ways. I'll do it different ways. So one option maybe was to do 5 times 9. Well, 5 is prime. 9 is not prime, so we got to break that down into 3 times 3. So the prime factorization of 45 is 3 times 3 times 5 equals 45. If you did 3 times 15, you'd start with that prime number of 3, break 15 down into 3 times 5, and again, you would get the same prime factorization regardless of what numbers you chose, as long as they accurately multiply to 45. Okay, so the next one, so the next page, 16, Janelle reads a baking recipe online that says she needs 4.5 cups of flour to make 1 serving of cookies. So this is to get 1 serving of cookies, 1 batch of cookies. Janelle buys a bag of flour with 6 3/4 cups of flour in it. We want to figure out how many servings. So we're taking that flour, if you think about it, and we're dividing it up into batches of cookies. So our flour amount is 6 3/4 that we're starting with, and we're dividing that into 4.5 cup serving sizes. All right. So what we need to do is get this in the correct format that we need. So 24 plus 3 is 27/4 over here, and 4.5 would be 9/2. Now we need to copy dot flip. So 27/4 divided by, oops, sorry, I forgot to dot and flip. Dot, flip. All right, now, a lot of people probably did not simplify before they multiplied. I think it's going to save you a lot of headache here. You simplify this. 2 goes into 2 1 time, 2 goes into 4 2 times. 9 goes into 9 1 time, it goes into 27 3 times. So that's going to give you 3/2, which equals, so you're going to take 3 divided by 2, you're going to get 1 and 1/2. Okay, in case you're wondering where that came from. So the correct answer is she can make 1.5 servings or batches or whatever. Okay, some people didn't simplify correctly, or they multiplied wrong and they got lost in the calculations, so that was kind of an issue there. The next question, I'm going to pause this because I added some questions on that are not printed to this, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to add a page here. We're going to do this. It says find the product of 8.5 and 2 300. So you would line those up as if it was 85 and 203. So you don't worry about where the decimal is when you're multiplying these. So 5 times 3 is 15. You carry the 1. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. So that should look like that. Your second row, you have a 0. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 2. And then 8 times 2 is 16. Add those up. You get 5, 5, 2, 7, 1. And then we have 1, 2, 3 decimal spots. You got to start here and move it in 1, 2, 3. So your answer is 17 and 255 thousandths. All right, the next one was number 19, which was to divide 0, and 56 thousandths by 0 and 7 hundredths. You've got to take this decimal on the outside, move it over 2 to get it up against that wall. Move this over 2, bring it up. So 7 goes into 5, 0 times. It goes into 56, 8 times. All right, so the answer to that one was 8/10. 20, the difference of these two numbers, you have to find the difference of 4.97 and 3.49. So that means subtract. You're going to turn that into an 8. You're going to have to give that 10 to this, that's going to be 8. It's going to be 4. And then 1. So the answer to that one is 1 4800. Again, so question 17 says Brianna and Mark are going to practice basketball in the gym after school. Brianna says she will practice every 8 days. Mark says he will practice every 6 days. When will Brianna and Mark practice on the same day again? So we're going to skip count. They're going to be practicing, you're looking for LCM, they're going to practice on day 24. All right, so that's the answer. Like I said, most kids did really well with this question. So I think they really have a good grasp on LCM. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Glad you're getting your test corrections done. Until next time, guys. Bye.